Call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Carla here.
Karen here.
Jerry here.
Kathy here.
John here.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. Carla.
Karen, I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy here.
John.
GDDC semi-annual update.
Consent agenda.
I'll make a
Oh,
motion
sorry.
to approve the consent agenda.
Oh, my bad.
I'll second it. Carla.
Karen, I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy here.
John.
Now we'll go to the GDDC update.
Members of the council, city staff, Dan McDonald, Greater Dubuque Development, 900 Jackson Street in Dubuque, Iowa. I'm assuming you can hear me okay. First and foremost, thank you to Karen and her team for putting me on the agenda. You may recall we promised that we would give you kind of a quick 6-month update. You've been good enough to allow us to do that. And so what I wanted to do is just give you a very quick update of what's happened. But before I do that, aside from thanking you for putting this on the agenda, I want to say a couple other things. I want to thank all of you council members for what you do. I'll be brutally honest, when you're in the cheap seats, things are easy, and I know that you folks take time away from your work and your families to serve in the public, whether you're here in Dubuque, so we should always say thank you. So that's extended a lot to Dave Maloney, so keep doing what you're doing. And then finally, to your city staff, and I know Whitney is not here tonight, your city staff, you need to know they're exceptional to work with. Whitney won't tell you this, but I will. Our gee whiz factor at Greater Dubuque is pretty high, and we liked her from the first day we met her. She's smart, she's tough, she cares a lot about this community, and it's been a blast to work with her. And our perception is she has one direction forward, so I would have said that tonight if she was here, but she's very good to work with, as is your whole team. Karen's been stuck with us for a long time. Just to make sure, I'm very brief tonight. I just wanted to tell you what's cooking, what's happened since I was here in the last 6 months, and I'll lace the good news with kind of the challenging things. I won't sugarcoat it, and I won't take a lot of your time. So here's what I would tell you. Since I stood in front of you 6 months ago, we've had some great activity. In fact, we've had at least 6 major announcements of projects that impact Peosta residents, Dubuque residents, whether it's Hodge expanding, Hormel expanding, Unison expanding, Duluth Trading coming to Dubuque, Crown. We're talking about 250 new jobs, 25 million in CapEx, and probably 250,000 square feet of new construction. That's just since we met. And additionally, what I will leave for you also is, for the council members, is that what our team does also is we sit down one-to-one with CEOs of companies, including Peosta, large manufacturers, ones in Dubuque. And in the last quarter, just the last 3 months, we interviewed 82 business owners or CEOs. My point in telling you that isn't to impress you, it's to impress upon you that we have a pretty good handle of what's cooking street level. The good news is, and this is where it's going to start to collide a little with the challenging news, is that we have about 33% of Dubuque area employers that are saying they want to expand, add on, spend money, add jobs for real people. That's great news. 1 week ago today, really great news. The city, Peosta, and the county you reside in has the 5th lowest unemployment rate in the United States of America, 1.9%. That's great news. The bad news is the city, county in which you reside, has the 5th lowest unemployment rate in the United States of America. And it's ugly times, ugly out there. And our pitch to you the last time that we were here was, we were so proud and pleased that you continue to do what you do here to make families want to pick up their lives and come here, whether they're from Poughkeepsie, New York, or somewhere else. Our companies are only going to get the people if you have a quality place to live. You just don't pick up your life and move and go anywhere. So keep doing what you're doing there. So we have a good news and bad news challenge. I'll leave you with this, and I invite any of you to attend this, but the difference, I think, between winners and losers. Every community right now is having a tough time with workers, whether you're Denver, Dubuque, or Dallas. The difference, though, is we, along with your help, choose not to have a pity party, sit around having a poor me crying jag. We're trying to do something about it because it's tough everywhere. So I invite any of you, your staff, because you invest in us, to next Friday, December 6th, 8 a.m. to 9:30, come down. It's a free breakfast. It's at the Diamond Joe. We're going to be unveiling and launching and showing you some things that we're going to do to try to bolster the population.
Yeah, two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is set the public hearing date for the wastewater treatment and environmental information document in the city of Peosta project plan. Public hearing, so,
So we're gonna set the public hearing date of January 14th. Is that the date?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for the wastewater treatment facility for January 14th, 2020.
I'll second.
Carla.
Karen, I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John,
Next is resolution setting the date for special election to fill the vacancy of the office of mayor in the city of Peosta.
that's resolution. I'll make a motion for resolution 2019-77, resolution setting date for special election to fill a vacancy in the office of the mayor of the city of Peosta.
I'll second.
Carla.
Karen, I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy,
John,
Building permit, Peosta Elementary School edition.
Do we need a motion on this?
yes, please.
Make a motion to accept the building permit for Peosta Elementary School addition.
I'll second.
Carla.
Karen, I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John,
Any others? Next will be citizen comment. I just need to make a, please note, we ask you that you state your name and your address before commenting. We will also be asking you to limit your comments to 2 minutes per speaker. If at any time the speaker appearing before the council exceeds the time limitation set forth or becomes abusive in language or behavior, we may declare that person out of order and refuse him or her permission to continue to address the council. So with that, I will open up the citizen comment. If anybody want to speak, you come up and talk in front of the podium.
I'll make this very brief, as brief as possible. Won't be as bubbly.
name and, sorry,
Pat White, 230 Leslie. Won't be as bubbly as Dan McDonald's, but piggyback on some of that. It's a great community, and we got to be thinking forward thinking, not progression. And some of the actions of the council, some of the council members recently have been concerning for myself and concerning for this community. Kathy Orr, Karen Lyons, Carla Ryder, consistent with the group of people that have an agenda outside of what is good and positive for the city. Go back to the IIW contract in reference to the space study down at the police station. Gets voted down. Don't even want to think about checking into it for $3,000. It's all no votes. Fast forward to October 8th city council meeting. One of our community leaders, business leaders, AJ Spiegel, donates $3,000. Checks accepted, never recognized, no vote, no nothing, no study is even brought forth for discussion. That's more evidence to me there's a possible agenda going on that's pitting against these city leaders want to keep things moving forward. Then we come to November 12th city council meeting. On the agenda is the nomination or the proposal for a vote. And also there's a motion to appoint instead of a vote, just to bypass the citizens. Things trying to get railroaded through, and it just seems like Kathy, Karen, and Carla have an agenda outside of what is positive for this community. And I love the fact that there's a lot of people in this room. Not everyone probably shares the same opinion that I do, but it's good to see that you're here and you're being involved, because it's important that we are involved rest of the city, is more clear. I mean, I abbreviated everything, and it's more clear that out of that October 8th meeting, to me, I'm sure many of us know, AJSB was very heated in that meeting, but it's more clear in understanding why he's so heated in that meeting and what's going on there. And it is, something's gotta happen. All this concern, everything that the three of you are trying to control the city council, is what it sure seems like to me. I hope people in this room are hearing it. I'm of the opinion that, I know Carla, you're on your way out, but Karen and Kathy, you ought to consider stepping down from your position, because you're not good for the city at all, and you're creating dysfunction on this council. Thank you.
Most of you know me. My name is Steve Grimlaw. I'm at 528 Acre Ridge. I served 4 years on the city council. And when I served on the city council, I had 3 of these ladies sitting in the council seats busting my butt and the other council members about spending an extra $1 to improve the city. Then they turn around and they're on the city council and they spend $400,000 over budget for a police station that should have never happened. What's really got me bothered about the city council right now is the fact that when I pick up the newspaper or turn the radio on this morning at 5 a.m. when I turn on Channel 9 News and I hear Peosta City Council, read it, Peosta City Council. I'm disgraced with the city council right now, totally. And I don't think anybody in here is gonna disagree with me on it. You 3 have an agenda, he's right. You had an agenda when I was on the city council. You don't want to improve the city. You don't want to see it grow. It takes money. You spend money to make money. We found that out when we did Thunder Ridge Water. We offered them the residents of Peosta. They turned it down. We still make money off of it, folks. You got to spend money to make money. So if you want to live in the Stone Ages, I'm telling you right now, move up of the city of Peosta. I want to see it grow. I like having Fairway, Unity Point, other things coming to town. I want to see this town grow. I've been here since '96, and I've seen it grow, and I want to continue to see it grow. So my answer to you is, if you got an agenda and you're not happy with the Peosta City Council, get off of it. Otherwise, do the job the residents are paying you to do. And the 2-minute time limit, I pay taxes. I understand 2 minutes, but give me a few more minutes if you don't mind. But the thing is I'm telling you right now, we need a mayor that's gonna stand up and fight for the town. We need city council members that are gonna stand up and fight for the town, for the residents. So, like I said, you know how I feel, and I'm done talking. I don't wanna pick the paper up tomorrow morning and read about a bunch of crap again. I don't wanna open or turn the TV on. I don't wanna listen to the radio. I'm embarrassed when someone says, hey, where do you live? I don't want to tell them Peosta, Iowa right now, because I'm embarrassed of what's going on with our city council. So, thank you.
Any more comments?
Just that I agree. It's just getting very frustrating.
Jerry, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden when this is going up for a vote for a mayor, Karen decides she didn't want to run for mayor, but when being appointed, she wanted to be mayor? I don't get this program, why she doesn't want to run for mayor.
The appointment would have just postponed the election until after the holidays. That's basically what we were after. That's what we were after.
I think it's all right.
It's whatever you want to believe. I guess I got a citizen's comment. shouldn't have, but I will. I'm just surprised that people are telling us that we should make our decisions behind closed doors so we make the council chamber look good and all be in agreement. I guess I'm old school, I guess that's it. But to me, it was a surprise that you would prefer that we would meet behind closed doors and make our decisions. That's all I got to say.
I don't understand that comment.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that. What do you mean?
Do you
Who made that proposal?
They want, well, maybe that's what I'm not understanding. It sounds like they want to unite at front at the council meetings, don't make waves. And yet, to have open government, you're not going to get 5 people to agree all the time. And to me, what I'm hearing is that you prefer that we debate our decisions behind closed doors and show up here with a unified front. Is that what I'm hearing?
You put a resolution on the agenda and you vote on it. You don't completely change the motion and draw a brand new motion. And then force the city of the people of Peosta to petition to have the right thing done. That's what it boils down to here.
A work session.
Those board meetings shouldn't even be happening anyways. Every meeting you guys have should be open to the public, and they should be able to voice their opinion.
I think you're missing what they're saying. They don't want you to have a closed door meeting. They want you to be open-minded to advancing the city, instead of trying to always restrict everything that happens around here and trying to hold back Peosta. Because that's what it feels like you're doing. Every time that something comes along that is interesting or could help grow the city, the 3 of you vote against it. And that's what it's saying.
Can you give us an example of that?
I can't off the top of my head right
How
now.
about the space study? You got a $3,000
Okay.
donation
Right.
for the
Beyond
police
that.
station.
Beyond that.
The space.
We had
That's
spent
a
$1 million
example.
down there.
For what? What goes on down there?
The space study is another example of my not understanding. It just, why is it an issue? There's no money to be made down there. We're not impeding progress.
There's no money lost.
But it's,
Now that
It's-
AJ Spiegel has donated, there's no
Alright.
money lost.
Why would
and
AJ
why,
Spiegel care
if
where
this
the
is such an
city
important
offices
study,
were?
if this is such an important study, if it were really real important to me like it sounds like it is to these gentlemen, why haven't they made a motion every meeting to bring it back to the table? It's just tabled.
I don't know,
Why
maybe
haven't-
it has to do with your agenda,
Why haven't they,
Why do you keep saying that we have an agenda?
because it sure looks like you have an agenda.
I mean, it sounds sexist to me.
No, it has
No,
nothing,
it's
nothing
not
to do with
sexist.
it.
What's the
It
agenda?
has nothing to do with that.
What's the agenda?
The
I'd
agenda
like
is
to
to
know.
ask the business leaders of this community.
What
The
business
people that bring
leaders?
in the money. Well, I just am specifically talking about AJ Spiegel, but
Right.
on Peosta Mamas, Karen pointed out that she wasn't talking about AJ Spiegel when she was commenting on my post. She was referencing all business leaders that want to take over the council and have their will done.
I don't think.
That was on there. It's still on there.
I think that was kind of not taken out, I think you took it out of context.
That-
I don't know.
That's a great example, and it has nothing to do with sexism at all.
I think we're trying to be fiscally
There is
responsible.
dysfunction, and you 3 have created it.
Why?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
That is a great question.
why?
This probably would
Because we
delve
question
a little bit
things?
deeper if there was
Because we're not
evidence.
gonna be intimidated, nobody's gonna dictate it to us what we're supposed to do, we're not gonna be bought. So what part? What's the
You're just
agenda
holding
that we're
back.
after?
You're just holding
Thunder
back.
Ridge was $1 million. I don't think the water that we're getting paid for over there is gonna make up that $1 million. The police station was $1 million.
And 400,000
People were
went
not,
over budget.
exactly.
That's
Yes.
on you.
That's not on me.
That's on your city council.
Right, you're right.
That's on you.
That's right.
So.
And I wasn't willing
And
to
I'm
spend
sure if I
any
asked
more
Mike
down
Snyder
there.
to pull up meetings from the past, I'm sure you 3 have voted a lot of things down.
Voted for that and these guys voted against it? Is that what you're saying?
You
Because
wanna
I'd
know-
like to see that one.
I'm sure
I
Karen
would
Shaggy
like to
pull
see
up
that one.
past meetings from
Okay,
a
she'll
year
bring
ago,
that up.
2 years ago.
Yep.
And then, Kathy, when I was at on city council, I remember you guys coming in and constantly fighting.
Constantly about the Thunder Ridge thing. You're
Every
right.
week.
You are right. That was wrong.
No, it wasn't.
Really?
We kept rural water from expanding closer to Peosta. That was the other agenda on that part of it. We also now have another subdivision being built. That's more water being used.
And if that was so bad, why are you $400,000 over budget on the police department in
That's a
Peosta?
great question.
Well,
Yes.
you're on the council,
You're
you
on
answer my
council.
question.
Yeah. We
Answer.
tried to get answers to that.
Well, yeah, but you should have the answers to that.
You're right.
Not looking at me saying, you're right. I know I'm right.
Yes.
But where's your answers? Besides blaming him for something that
Well,
you
I don't
did.
personally have the answer. That's on the whole council.
Well,
But
you're
I don't
right.
think 3 people on the council are to blame for that.
I'm not saying three to blame, it's just
Really?
I'm saying the whole council is to blame
Oh.
for that. I didn't say Jerry and John were exempt from that.
I might as well talk to the podium. So my name is Elena Thier, and I live over on 903 Heather Drive. And one example I've had, I've been to one other meeting, and I tried to get a stop sign put out in front of the school because my daughter got the wrong line, crossed the road. She was never supposed to have been over there. And it was like pulling teeth just to get a stop sign for kids to be safe. And it was the women on the council that were fighting it so hard. And I thought, you know, Sageville is a much smaller community. They have a whole traffic light, but I couldn't even get a stop sign. So that's my one example. But I moved here from Marion, Iowa. And one of the things, I was on a council committee at the time. And what we ended up discussing, one of the topics while I was there, was the new library. So Marion had steady growth for 80 years, very steady growth, continually inclining, and that library was good for 80 years. They built a brand new library, and in 8 years, because of the exponential growth that Marion had, they were out of space with that library. And I feel like Peosta is probably trending the same direction, that although we have been at a steady growth, I have a feeling we may be looking at exponential growth. And I think what needs to be opened up maybe to the community, again, I know a couple years back there was a survey that went out. What are people looking for in Peosta? And what is the focus? Because maybe things have shifted a little bit with the growing population, and what are some of the frustrations, and maybe we just need to have a more open conversation with our council so that you guys know what we're looking for, and instead of, you know, trying to guess. So, you know, on that aspect, maybe it's not fair to assume you know what the community wants either. So I think that's where needing a vote for a mayor was probably more of the correct thing to do, just because the city is evolving so quickly that, you know, I think at this point we probably need a lot of community input on what's going on. So.
I think to respond to that a little bit is we did a goal setting, a couple work sessions, and I know one of the things that we talked about that we just haven't got there yet was meeting or having open houses, I guess you'd call it, either quarterly or biannually, to have those very frank, open dialogue of what we've got going on, what you guys, what the citizens want, what the businesses want, and so we can take that back and then and continue some planning. So I think you'll see some of that probably in 2020. But that's
Good news.
And if you see a need, the door's always open. You can always hit up the city council or one of us. Our information's all out on the website, so you can contact one of us and we'll champion it through. So
Bridge Street. I'm sure some of you know me. Kathy, I'd like to ask you, what was your reason for turning down the study on the police station?
Because I didn't think it was appropriate to spend 300,000 plus on a building that we just spent $1 million on. And when I asked about the study, or what his recommendations were gonna be, he said you may need to gut the inside or add on to the building. And if we did the study, and put off doing anything down there for a number of years, the study was not going to be any good at that time. That's why.
And at one of the last meetings I was at, your reason was you didn't want IIW doing the study. That's what you said.
Nope.
That is exactly what you said.
Nope, I just said
You
something
said it
about
out
the
loud.
guy who did the presentation.
I was sitting right next to you when you said it.
No.
You said, I didn't want IIW doing the study.
No.
That was your reason.
No.
Yes, Kathy.
Nope, I
It
was talking about the guy doing the study.
No.
I didn't like, or the guy doing the presentation.
I didn't like his presentation either.
I didn't
You
see
stated
anything, I didn't know
you
who was
didn't
doing
want
the study.
IIW doing the
I didn't know
doing
who
the
was
study.
doing the study.
You didn't know who was doing the study.
Nope,
The guy from IIW was sitting right here. He gave you the presentation.
that was a new guy. I didn't know where he came from. He had never been
It was
here
in the
before.
minutes that he was from IIW.
Well, that could be.
You weren't paying attention? Maybe you were sleeping like Karen does. Maybe you took a little nap.
That's an inappropriate comment.
Why is it? It's the
Because
truth.
it's false.
It is not false. She's fallen asleep at the meetings. Ask Jerry, ask John, ask anybody. Karen has fallen asleep. One night, she just about fell on my shoulder. She was sleeping. So, and then you want to start banning people from the meetings? You want to ban the largest employer and the highest taxpayer in Peosta? You want to ban him from the meetings?
Because of his behavior.
He's a citizen. So what? He got a little upset.
A little?
Yeah. He was upset. He had a reason to be.
Why?
Because you three
Because.
got together
Because
and
of what?
decided we were going to vote that down. Just
Okay.
like you have before. Just like one meeting, we were going to have a work session. I called all three of you. I called everybody and said we're going to change it to a special meeting because we can't take any action at a work session. All of a sudden, all three of you just can't show up. You were good with the work session, but as soon as I said about a special meeting, all three of you couldn't make it. So, I'm with Pat. You have an agenda. All three of you do. Thankfully, Carla's going to be gone. Then your agenda's going to be gone. We'll get somebody in here that will step up. Thank you.
So when the three guys vote together, are you gonna say, what's your agenda?
No.
No, you're not. Thank you.
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
All I can hope for is there'll be progress made, looking for the future to be outside.
Ryan Winkleman, 529 Maple Ridge. How much of the police station gets used on a daily basis?
We use the facility all the time, I guess. But are you talking like when we're out on duty?
Yeah.
We're out on duty, like when we're out in the street, I like to have my guys out in the street patrolling around.
But I mean, are there empty offices that aren't being used presently at this time?
No, they're all being used by something. There's always something in the offices, yeah.
So-
Each one of us have an office and then we have storage in there also.
Okay, so the feasibility study, the purpose for it was to determine whether or not the building was big enough. So $3,000 to pay to see if the building's gonna be big enough and just how much it's going to need to be modified to be able to have this down there was not that much to ask. And had to have them create the design for it, because there's work involved with that, there's time involved with that. So I don't understand why you didn't even want to consider having someone look into this to determine whether or not it's going to be worthwhile. You paid $1 million for a building, that part of which isn't being used, it's just being used as storage, that you can then turn into offices that would belong to the city. that you wouldn't have to rent space or borrow space at any given time, that you'd have anytime access to it when you need it. But that's not good enough. I don't understand.
We could do that now.
You can
Where are
come
we
in this
renting
building
space?
anytime you want without any problems.
We could use that building now.
It's our building. It's our building.
That
It's
was
the
our
city's building.
question.
Huh?
Why not use it the way it is for a
Well, that's
while?
what the feasibility study was for, right? To see if it's big enough. Are there any rooms this big in there? Because it doesn't feel like it when you look at it from the outside. It doesn't feel like there's
I
a
think a
building.
lot of it was to see,
But we could put a couple of offices down there just as it is without doing anything.
Okay. But looking into it wasn't a good idea for whatever reason.
It was built for 5 to 7 officers, and if you take 4 in the staff and the 3 officers and put them in that space and figure your parking, to me, it was just logic. I don't know what the other women, what their reasoning was. Might be similar, it might be different, but it was just logical to me not to do that right now. It'll be paid for in 2024. So why do anything before that? That was my logic. I'm sorry, that's just the way I saw it. And actually, it isn't, we didn't turn it down, we tabled it. And if it is that important, tell us why, get a motion to get it back on the table, and we have it done. But if it would have been me, and it would have been that important to me, every meeting, you'd have heard from me saying, I want to make a motion, put it back on the table.
Before that study, has anybody ever thought that anything about where City Hall is and where the police station is and the two of them going together, did that just bring it all up? Has anybody brought it to the attention of the city before?
To the attention
No.
of the city, no, but I have thought about before as to why our city hall was in a private building as opposed to a building. I know you guys own the building, but a private building as opposed to being in its own position. I mean, just being in here tonight with the exercises going on downstairs, it makes it difficult to concentrate or have a conversation when that music starts up the way it does. To me, it's embarrassing, especially when they have.
Professional.
It'd
make it more professional.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, those thoughts have to come across your mind in order for you to not want to bring it back up to the table. I guess is where I'm at with that. My other comment is this. I understand you're upset with AJ Spiegel, but it wouldn't take much for another city to say, hey, why don't you bring your businesses here? We'll give you incentives. We'll do something for you. We've got people that need jobs too. It wouldn't be hard for him just to pick up and leave. AJ has done a lot for the city. We're not saying that you need to kowtow and cater to him constantly, but pissing him off in the middle of a meeting is probably not the best thing to do for one of the biggest employers in the city.
Might be right about that.
You can look at me and look like that all you want. We heard this, we saw the transcripts, we heard what was done and said in the meetings. You guys got him mad, right? I mean, you got him mad for whatever reason. And he's just like any other human. You piss him off enough, he's not going to take it anymore. He's going to walk away. So, just something to think about.
I'm Dolly Brown. My address is 528 Hickory Ridge Street. And the only thing I want to say about this moving City Hall into the police station and AJ, and I'm all for AJ. I know he's done a lot for the community, but I don't understand when we're $400,000 over budget, why all of a sudden the need to move City Hall there. I'm kind of in agreement with you guys. I don't see the need for it when we don't even have it paid for. I get he was going to give us $3,000 for a study, but I know if he gets the study, he's going to want to do it. And he's going to think he's going to get the project, and the way it's gone, he has. And I don't care if he gets the project, but I think we should pay for what we have first. And if it was that important to move this to the police station, it should have been built in with the police station when we built it. Otherwise, I don't see why once we finished it, without permission to finish it and went over budget, now all of a sudden let's spend more money on something we don't even have paid for. Now that's my opinion, it might not be worth a whole lot, but I don't see the point of doing a study when we can't afford it, when we're not paying for, when we don't have it paid for already. I think you, but I wanna know why all of a sudden we have to move City Hall. Yeah, I know it's noisy, but it's been that way for years. Nobody cared before. And there isn't a room big enough down there, I've been there, to fit all these people in it. So how big are you gonna add on? And there ain't that much room down there. I mean, the parking wouldn't even, so you'd be right back here to have a meeting like this. Because there's no room down there to have a meeting like this. So I don't understand where all of a sudden we had to have a need to move everything to city or to the police station when you didn't think that through. I mean, I thought it through when you built it. But then it didn't happen, so now all of a sudden it's a need and I don't get the need.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a need. I would say what the study was doing is taking a look at what we have, because I think there was some talk internally, staff-wise, as far as maybe we could then take this space and have it be rented, right? We could take some of the space and generate some revenue and things like that.
Sure.
So let's take a look at the properties that we have. Is it even possible, right? Is it even possible to take a look at this property and say, it's gonna cost, to do this and do it right, it's gonna cost us, I don't know, $3,000 to do this.
Right.
Okay, maybe that makes sense. Now, the study came back and said it's gonna cost us $500,000. Well, no, it doesn't make any sense.
I know, but we don't even have it paid for, so
But-
why are
but
we
if-
gonna do a study to add on?
We don't know.
Or to remodel what we just finished?
But we
that
don't
should have
know.
been finished?
But we don't know. So I would think, and if we could spend whatever number, a reasonable amount of money, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever that amount is, so we could locate all the staff down there. Okay, then we could turn this into a rentable place.
It's rentable every day.
But this would be, if we could close those windows off, stuff like that, it'd be more attractive to rent.
Basically, it's just figuring out for the future what we can do with that building. What is it used for? Yeah, I know we screwed up. It's past the point. We're over budget.
Right.
But getting past that, it's what you call it, sunk cost. Yeah. So we just need to move past that, and with the study, that would either check that box whether that's going to be usable for the future at X amount of dollars, or are we stuck putting money in up here, making this a better council chambers room and more user friendly for our staff. So basically, that's all the study was going to do.
And I get that, but okay, so if we do a study now, and say you want to do it 5 years from now, that number is going to change, so what does that
The
study
material,
do now?
so the study will still be good, still be valid. Everything in the building, the structure, everything will still be usable. The only thing that will be adjusted is the cost of materials, labor, and anything that has to do with that.
In
So
5 years, there could be more
it could be 20 years.
employees.
It could be 20 years.
That changes
Basically,
the
what
whole
it is
thing
it's
again.
just giving us, the council, the city, the direction we need to move forward. So it's, we can bounce this thing across in this room for the rest of the night, but it's just, we got to get on a path, and it's more than just the building, right? It's the Parks and Rec. It's everything else. We, as a council, as a city, need to become more path-driven, more forward-thinking with these studies and plans. So I'm all for a study and all for a plan. I mean, so it's just knowledge, and to have it paid for, granted it's still tabled, but it's just something I think we have to have done.
Is there a study or a plan on where a future city hall, like a main building would go? I mean,
That's kind of,
or are we only looking 5 years out, or are we looking?
that's what that would be a part of, right? So there's some extra land down there, some spots that could be made into parking, because it's all going to be an issue down there. But if that's not usable, then yes, we'd have to look someplace else.
We
And
may
I'm-
walk away from the study and say, that's not, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. And
Well, I
unfortunately,
just don't understand why you want to do a study if you don't have a plan, because.
That's gonna give us the plan.
yeah.
I know that, but if you can't do that plan for 5 years, that amount is gonna change in 5 years.
And it's gonna change whether we do the
So
study
if
10 years
that plan,
long.
that study is really worthless, if you're not planning on doing it for 5
So-
or 10 years.
But we don't know.
No.
Because if it's a
So
simple fix.
if it's 500,000, you're gonna okay it for something.
Not
we're
necessarily.
actually debt for.
No, Not
No,
necessarily.
no, it's just getting the knowledge, basically. So what he mentioned before, we have a lot of plans. We have a CIP coming up, which is our 5-year plan, which has a lot of the larger projects that we're trying as a council to put in order, you know, as far as importancy and everything like that. But by having this type of information, that would be able to give us enough time to look forward, talking 10, 15 years, in order to plan if we're going to do something like that. Or if that place isn't going to work, if there's a different location that we should be purchasing for a city to put a building like that. You know what I mean? Without crossing that box, checking that box off, yes or no, we don't know. So it's just information. Any more comments?
Make a motion to adjourn?
I wanna just say something before we adjourn, is I'm assuming the rest of us up here are just as embarrassed as you guys are. You know, you guys are the citizens, you guys have to look at the paper and say, oh my God, Peosta's in the paper again. You know, we get the luxury of having our names out there too. So it's the role we chose. I myself is just as discouraged as anybody with what we've seen in the last 2-3 months. But with that being said, I think we need to, as a council, as a city, realize that there's a lot of good things that are going on here. Your staff, our staff is working tirelessly, is moving this town forward as best we can. In the last 2 years, we've had almost 60 new permits pulled for new builds. I mean, that's huge. That's 30 a year. Most small towns would die for that. We've got current projects underway for infrastructure, trying to find some systems for parks. So we are trying to move the ball down the field the best that we can. I know this last 2-3 months have been awful at best for our public image. For my part, I guess I want to apologize for that. But I think that, you know, we are moving the ball forward, and we will continue to grow, have this town grow, and it'll be prosperous.
John, I just one real quick thing, and I'm done today. You know, I served 4 years on city council. It is a thankless job, trust me. And I know exactly what you're doing. But the thing is we definitely need to get this little blip, the 2-3 month thing out of the paper. We need to make this a positive thing and make this town look good again. That's my big thing right now.
Absolutely.
Let's get it done. And that's on you guys' shoulders.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Caroline.
Jerry and I.
Jerry, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John.
We are adjourned.